Hello, my name is Caitlin Kohler, and I am with the American College of Education, talking today about trends, issues, and future applications of online learning. So, starting with STEM applications, two things related to STEM applications that are prominent when reading journal articles were distance learning and the advantages with that, and online virtual labs. So, with the distance learning, there was a study done with middle school math students at a STEM school, and some of the students were connecting with their peers online, and other students opted out of that opportunity. And the results showed that the students who did connect with their peers online in the distance learning setting resulted in higher exam scores compared to the students who did not. So, this distance learning, not only in STEM schools, but in all schools, is going to be growing as online opportunities grow. Also, online virtual labs. There was a study done in two major universities, virtual labs versus hands on labs, where the hands on lab was the control group. There was no difference in academic outcomes between the virtual lab and the hands on lab. The only major difference was the financial requirements of the hands on lab and buying all the materials, which was not necessary for the virtual lab because it was all there ready to go in the online environment. The next trend is the mobile learning trend. So, in a survey done of graduate students, they were asked, like, why mobile learning? Students responded that the rapid ease of access was definitely a reason for choosing mobile learning. Also, the efficiency of studying and connecting to peers made it easy to take on mobile learning opportunities. Researchers said that mobility of users rather than mobility of device is what's kind of driving this mobile learning. So, it's this new generation of students who are very digitally inclined that are pushing this mobile learning trend. Also, when asked, does mobile learning help or hinder the learning process? Um, Results showed that mobile learning language technologies had a moderate to positive response. So, being able to break language barriers, which I think also will come into play in any classroom, whether it's K 12 or higher education. Also, students whose learning is heavy in audio, like music or speech training, liked the idea of the portability and the convenience of just being able to have that at all times with them. So, the next trend is free online education. Two main areas that I've seen this is open ed resources, where materials are available to individuals or teachers to share with their classrooms. The only drawback right now is that Training for Adults has not reached its full potential. They haven't really invested in that direction yet, although that is one area that they do want to see growth in the future. The other online education that I'm seeing for free is the massive open online courses. And I'm kind of new to this. I've just recently found out about this. They are free courses available to anyone online. You just have to register. Registration is free. So the one course that I looked at when I was looking at like how this all works was a CS 50 class, or Computer Science 50. It is self-paced, offered through Harvard, which is cool, right? 10 weeks, 10 to 20 hours per week is the estimated kind of time requirement. For $90, you can get a verified certificate at the end. And when I looked at this, yesterday was the starting date. Over 1.5 million people had already enrolled in this one single class. And there are tons of classes available online. So this is a huge opportunity for anyone who wants to just learn or see if maybe there's a area of interest that they want to pursue, if that's really for them, you know. So these massive open online courses are a huge addition to online learning. The next thing that's kind of near and dear to my heart are perceptions of online education. As a student who's done my master's degree and now my doctoral program completely online, I fully believe in online education, but I've run into people who think it's kind of a cop out, which is not true at all. There's definitely strengths and limitations of universities who want to take on online education. So, even with an initial investment of adding online education to a university or to a school, the end result is extremely cost effective. You have students logging in from their homes and or from libraries coffee shops, wherever, but not logging in necessarily from the university with which they're taking the class. So, training of staff is required, and I'm going to touch on that more in my next trend of instructor professional development. But it's different teaching online courses than it is teaching traditional face-to-face courses. So anyone that thinks teaching online would be the easy way out and still teaching is definitely wrong in that aspect. So teachers that do teach online, there's a high impact teaching required. What that means is you have to make sure that student-centered learning is taking place and student-centered course design. So helping students become facilitators and being a leader with students, showing them how to be facilitators by modeling it and then having them take it on themselves. So a study of grad students when asked about online education said that motivation was required, but that can be taught or learned throughout the course. So again, that goes back to students being facilitators of their education. So then the last trend I wanted to talk about was the instructor professional development. So best practices are constantly evolving in online education, especially as technology is evolving. Studies have shown that learner to learner interaction rather than learner to instructor interaction is more important to students being able to learn in an online setting. So the collaboration between students is absolutely necessary for successful online courses. Um, instructors, instructors need to know different types of knowledge in order to teach online lessons. So traditional brick and mortar teachers know pedagogical knowledge and content knowledge. And when you're an online instructor, you also have to know technological knowledge. So altogether, that is technological, pedagogical, content knowledge, or TPAC if you Google it or look for it in journal articles. What that means is you, as an online teacher, have to be able to not only teach your content, but tailor it to how it's best taught to students and keeping in mind the technology required to be able to kind of get the information out to students, disseminate it, and what's the best route for doing that. So there's a lot that's involved with teaching online. And like I said, anyone that thinks teaching online is the easy way out is definitely wrong. So, in conclusion, online opportunities are growing, whether it's online courses at universities or the mass open online courses that are available, even learning from YouTube. It's kind of like Wikipedia. Not everything might be of high quality, but you can learn from there also. And since all these online opportunities are increasing, the changes to meet the needs are also coming. So I think there's going to be a high demand of people needing to kind of transform from traditional teaching methods into online teaching methods. And so there's going to have to be some sort of educational path or professional development to support that and the teachers who choose to do that. Because I think in the long run, there's going to be a lot more online education than traditional classroom education, especially for non traditional students, or maybe students are of the right age or whatever, but they have families and they have responsibilities and they have full time jobs. And those kind of students who are getting graduate degrees or even doctoral degrees, they're going to need some more flexible learning, and that's where online education comes into play. Here are my references. Thank you for listening to my presentation.